Any clips used in this show are for review purposes only, and no copyright was intended. Thank you. Warning, Hebrews Toys Reviews is not intended for children. It is for adult collectors and the people over the age of 18. Hello everybody, Hebrew77 here, and today we will be talking about the 1986 Tomahawk. Only except I don't have technically the 1986 Tomahawk. What I do have is what I consider in my mind to be somewhat of an upgrade, the 2013 Eaglehawk. I don't know quite why they didn't just go ahead and call it the Tomahawk. Maybe Hasbro didn't have the rights at the time to use Tomahawk, or maybe they just felt they've used the Tomahawk name already back in their 2003 re-release of some of the G.I. Joes, like General Tomahawk. But I don't know. Anyway, today we will be exploring the 2013 Tomahawk and talking about the 1986 Tomahawk. But first, here's a little bit of history about that helicopter. The closest thing I would say to the 1986 Tomahawk would be the 1986 Apache helicopter, in real world sense that is. And you can see these blades here sort of match up with the Apache helicopter. The Apache helicopter did come out in 1986, and it was known as the AH-64 Apache helicopter. It was an attack helicopter. However, the G.I. Joe Tomahawk was mostly a rescue chopper, and there's what it looks like there. You can tell it looks a little bit more like the Tomahawk, and I'm guessing this is what they based their 1986 Tomahawk off of. There's quite a bit of resemblance, not quite the exact resemblance, but you can see it there with its side gunner, this gun here, and the white missiles. So anyway, with this out of the way, we will now take a look at the 2013 Eaglehawk. Here is the 2013 Eaglehawk, and as you can see, I had the blades turned inward. Oh, that one came off. Give you some room to demonstrate, and if you've seen any of my G.I. Joe movies, you would know exactly what hard of a time I had. And these blades actually are starting to droop already because I've just left them on there. But there's that, and yeah, that's what it looks like in flight. Now this is the only one that seemed to stay perfectly whirling and whirling and whirling around. But this was an added feature that did not happen on the 1986 version. You can fold these blades in like so. Oh, wait. Or you could remove them entirely without removing the entire sort of, you know, this part here pulls off, which you didn't want to do. And inside my Eaglehawk, you can see I've got some G.I. Joes in there. I've got Tunnel Rat and the 25th anniversary roadblock. On the other side here we have the Footloose, and of course Gung Ho is in here as well. I guess I should have had him on the other gun. If you look deep inside the helicopter, if you can see it, let's see, I think it's that side. No, that side. I almost need a light on the camera in order for you to see, but I sitting in the very back seat is out back. As opposed to the 1986 Tomahawk, the 2013 Eagle Hawk had a canopy that opened from the top, whereas the original opened from the bottom. Now, this is a nice little new feature to this one. As you can see here, I've got the 1986 lift ticket, the original pilot for the 86 Tomahawk. And this guy, who the name escapes me, but for the longest time I was using him for the in place of the 1986 lift ticket. Let's take a look at lift ticket real quick before we get back to the helicopter. This is the pilot for the 1986 Tomahawk lift ticket, and if you get a lot of these figures, you'll notice that a lot of them have a nose rub issue. However, mine, as you can see, let me get them in proper light here, doesn't really have that issue. I was very lucky to find him like that. However, he does have a very goofy looking face. He has an oversized molded in helmet and the chin strap here. He does have a microphone which is missing on mine, and I think that contributed to the nose rub problem for some reason. Take a closer look at the figure. You can see he has a tan vest with green sleeves, red on top of the sleeves, the shoulders, and his green sleeves come down to black gloves on the figure. And then the bottom of lift ticket is the green pants. The green continues, and you have these red knee pads, which I like knee pads on my G.I. Joe. You turn them around, you can see he has a knife on this thigh, and a gun, a non-removable gun, a molded in gun on this side. Black boots, and over here you have another molded in pistol on his tan vest. Overall, I would have to say a pretty decent figure. A lot of people dislike the oversized molded in helmet. I have no problem with it. But now on to the helicopter. You may notice mine does not have its missiles on it, but there are white missiles. I do have them. I just don't have them attached to the helicopter because these missiles are easy to lose. They fall off at the drop of a hat, and so I did not have it displayed with the missiles because often I would bump into this thing and they would fall off. We will look at the missiles probably last, but here you have a removable engine cover, which I'm not going to take this off at this point in time. Up here, you'll notice there's a hinge. Let me get the helicopter here. A hinge here, and this is removable as well, which I'm not going to take it off. To show you this, underneath here we have the chin gun, which this is known as it's got a turret here at the bottom, which doesn't seem, it moves up and down. It does move up and down, and I think this is like an 80mm cannon here on this. Don't quote me on that. It has wheels for good landing, and if you look here at the oh, sorry, Gung Ho fell out. you will see a winch. This is a turning winch, and I think on the original Tomahawk, this was a little bit different. It wasn't here, but I think rather it was underneath. This is about the extent of the hook. It is not very long. In fact, I do believe the Dragonfly is longer. I'll attach it to Gung Ho here and reel him in. As I'm serious, put me down. Oh God, I need help. Now, as you can see, it's not very long, but it does serve its purpose. How am I supposed to do this one hand? Let's see here. Okay, pick up. Oh, he fell off. Dang it. Oh well. We'll just demonstrate how it churned up. You can see I'm turning the winch here, and it's going all the way up. And there it is. Sorry, Gung Ho. We'll come back and get you. There's a shot of Outback. You can barely see him, but he is in there. Trust me. Hey, you're touching my feet. You're touching my feet. No, you're touching my feet. Anyway, come on, guys. Settle down back there. This had a turnable rotoblade. As you can see, it just turns around and round and round. And these little blades in here do spin. But it'd be very hard for me to do the whole time. Or you know what would be kind of cool is that if it sort of had like a zip cord effect where you'd push a button or something, these things actually did spin. Although I do see the hazardous problem with that. And it would have been really nice if not only in 2013 but back in 1986, if these things had a manual trigger. Although I do see the problem with that since they're so big and wide, and especially the one in the 80s was so big and wide that, as you could see earlier, I had trouble spinning these babies simultaneously. So I do see, oh man, I'll have to put that back on later. I do see how they had sort of a problem doing this. Now, one gripe that a lot of collectors have that have the original Tomahawk is that this is dark plastic. The original was clear plastic. The pilots could see out this window better, and you could see the pilots. Now, if you want to see the pilots, you have to open the hatch. Another gripe is at the bottom of this. This is painted on, molded in floor. The original Tomahawk had a clear plastic that was underneath, but I don't mind it so much. I mean, I don't see why you'd have to see underneath your helicopter. Not really. I mean, come on, guys. So, yeah, this is just a beautiful piece. I love it. Now, the only problem... Oh, I forgot to mention these guns. Yes, it has these machine guns on each side of the helicopter, which right now Footloose is manning one of them. But I did want to show you guys the seats. This is another change that a lot of people have gripes about, is these seats are molded on. They cannot be removed. So you cannot fit... You can't really fit an injured figure in here, even though this helicopter was meant, at least on the TV show, specifically for airlifting injured guys. So, well, we'll put Footloose back in here. There is some foot pegs on the helicopter, and I'll get to that in a second. There are some foot pegs that are inside. Again, it's so very, very dark in there. I can't really... I guess I could shine a flashlight in there if I wanted to. But here at the bottom, you have this hatch. And I will demonstrate the hatch here in a second. a hatch on the back that came down, and you could see sort of like, I guess if you wanted to airlift an injured man, you'd take him to the back of this helicopter. Now from the back here, I will shine this through here. You can see all the guys that are sort of in the helicopter, which that's sort of very cool. Would be a unique point of view, I guess. So that's pretty cool. This little platform was available on the original Tomahawk. You can see it's got all the original decals. It's got all the original prints. It's got all of the original sort of features. I mean, these panels here, for example, they are removable. Although I'm not going to remove them for this review, because then I'd have to put them back on. Now let's take a look at the missiles. Well, I ran into a problem while arming the vehicle. As you can see, there's two little missiles that fit on the top, one big missile on bottom, and here's the problem. This thing did not only come with 7 missiles, but it came with a whopping 8 missiles, and I apparently am missing a missile. So I'm missing one of the 7 missiles that this helicopter came with, and that's really frustrating. I'm sure it's around here somewhere, but I can't find it. I've looked through this entire missile bag, and there is a missile missing. As you can see, this is where I store all of the missiles. And outside of dumping this thing out and checking to see if I have all of my missiles, which I'm not going to do because it's going to leave a big mess on the floor, and this review can go on for hours. Well, I guess I will never solve the case of the missing missile, which is a shame, because this means now that my 2013 Eaglehawk is incomplete. Well, that's all the time I have for right now. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, please subscribe. Give it a thumbs up if you liked the video. And until next time, this is Hebro77 saying, we'll see you in the next. Good night, everybody.
Take a look at the new G.I. Joe Tomahawk.
Look, Cobra's attacking the All-Striker. Tomahawk to the rescue.
Tomahawk holds 8 Joes and it's loaded for battle.
Yo, Joe!
Tomahawk's gonna chase some cobra. Tomahawk is on the go. Tomahawk's gonna chase some cobra and rescue G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe!
Live the adventure of G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe Tomahawk. Other Joe and Cobra figures sold separately.
Yo, Joe!